I built this room from scratch, from an old cottage-style space to a functional nail studio where I offer nail services and lash lift, and then I shut it down. After running my first official business for 1.5 years, I made a hard decision to close it. But you're in luck because if you're thinking about opening a home-based nail studio, I got some tips including what I've do differently if I ever open one again. Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Tenny, a nail technician, a former nail studio owner, and now a press-on nail artist. So it is a week after I finished packing everything in my nail studio, and right now I'm in the office that I showed you the other day. Everything kind of in order now. It's still a little bit of a mess, but we did move most of the stuff here, and I also sold most of my stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I feel pretty lucky because people purchased my stuff and it's helped to clean out the room a little bit more. Here at we got the IKEA Kallax cabinet in, and as you can see, my husband also occupied a few slots, but obviously I kind of take over. Most of the slot is mine right now, and we put my desk in here. I also clear out one of my small shelf and keep one for now because I still have so many stuff. But my husband helped to put these IKEA cabinet on here on the wall, so it clean up the space a little bit more since this space is much smaller than what I had. And I just basically put a lot of stuff that I don't use that regularly up here to just set the space. I'm going to add a pegboard there for all of my tools, and hopefully that will organize a little bit more. But for right now, this is currently what it looks. If you click into this video, I'm guessing that you're thinking of starting a nails business at home. In this video, I'll show you some tips on what I would do differently if I ever reopen mine again. And remember to stick until the end where I will share with you some of my tips on how to get clients from scratch. So before you start it, remember to ask yourself a few questions. The first question is, what services are you going to offer? This is very important because you need to know what you want to do in order to plan things around. For example, I wanted to offer lash lifts and also pedicure and absolutely manicure. So I have to plan around what do I need to do? How do I arrange the room? And will all of that fit in that room? So you need to know what services that you want to offer first. Of course, you can always adjust, you can always remove something or add some more services, but from the beginning, it will be easier if you know what you want. So yeah, start with clarity. So the second question I would ask is, where are you going to open for business? Which room in your house will be open for business? Because we already know which services you're going to offer. So now you can layer it out. For me, for example, I need to think about where I put the bed, where I put the station, and where I put my nail desk so that like it all makes sense. Another thing to consider about a room, for me, my studio was in the basement and it has its own entrance, so at least I have some privacy. So I guess you need to think about like, will that be a problem if your house doesn't have a separate entrance and the client might need to go through your home? Is it gonna be create anything that uncomfortable, or did you okay with that? Make sure to think through a way in my house that I feel comfortable to open it up for clients. Another thing that I would consider is accessibility. Is the room that you're going to offer service in, will they have any access to private washroom. Sometimes clients like to wash their hand, aside from other things in the washroom, but you need to wash your tool and client need to wash their hand. I know that a few small studios sometimes they just do in their bedroom, but for me, I was lucky enough to have a separate space in the basement, which they have their own washroom, which is working out very well, and I think my clients prefer that. And I also have a separate place to wash all my tool, so I think that is something you can consider. So after determine what are you going to offer, where you're going to offer, now you can think about your budget and how you want your workspace to look like. It is something really depends, and it depends on your budget for sure. And you also need to thinking it through, like how the layout gonna be, how where the client gonna sit, where you're gonna sit, and where all of your tools gonna be, because as you know, doing nails, we have so many tools and different kind of equipments, so it can be challenging if you have a small space and you want to offer more services. So yeah, just kind of sit down, maybe use a pen and paper and then draw it down and then imagine it, if you would go to that and do that service, how is it going to be? And if you are in a lower budget, I suggest you to just start, open it up, because I feel like decor makeover, it make the room look nicer. It's more branding, but it's kind of like if you want to save money and you want to start making money, then maybe you can just start offering services and then see how that go. And down the line, you can always come back and then do the decor after. So for my case, I had that room there first, and at first the room looked very old and like cottage vibe, which is kind of cozy, but it wasn't like the aesthetic that I want. But I'm still up in it for about 6 months, just like a soft launch. I just arranged a desk, a drawer, and a shelf behind me, and I asked my friend like if they want to do nails, they can come over. I'll do it for them. So I did that for a little bit, and I started posting on Instagram. And after half year, when the summer came, my studio started to spread out, and I start to receive stranger messages to ask to book for their services. And that's kind of where I know that, like, okay, I wanted to change it up a little bit. I want to make over the room a little bit. All I need to do is thinking it through. And then that's what I did. I add more services afterward. So after 6 months of trial, I starting to adding lash lift and then pedicure. But yeah, think through, and I feel like the focus here is, if you are in low budget, save the money for all the equipments and the supplies, because that is really costly, and then you can always come back and do the reno or decor after. So just don't overspend, start with the essential, and you can also use that as a way to test out the water to see how is the market like. You can always decor slowly. It doesn't have to be perfect from day one. Speaking of budgeting and essential stuff, here are a few things that I think must have if you open a nail studio at home. The first thing, if you do manicure services, I highly recommend you to buy a good dust collector. I feel that is so important because when I first opened it up, I didn't have a dust collector, and my apron, my clothes were filled with dust. Even after I vacuuming the room pretty often, dust still there. The air just usually stucking. My dust collector, I bought it randomly from Amazon for like, I say $40 or $60. I can't remember, but I bought a random one. It's fine, it's work fine, but I found that like my one is so loud. So whenever I turn it on, it's challenging to discuss and talk with my clients. And another thing is the suction is not that strong, but yeah, recommend to buy a good one. so that it can have a stronger suction and don't make a strong noise. The second item that I think must have for your manicure services is definitely a good e-file or nail driller, um, because I try a few different one. Again, I was pretty low budget, so I would just buy whatever on Amazon. But one of them, the RBM, the strength level are pretty not clear. So basically, I turn to use a lower level for whenever I do direct contact with real nail. However, one of the e-file that I had, the lowest one is super strong, and I find that it's very challenging. I need to use my arm and my finger more to control it, to not overuse overrun on my client nails, because I don't want to make my client nails thinner. So that is something to keep in mind. I know that the good e-file can also cost like a $200, which is quite expensive, but yeah, do your research. Make sure to watch all the review and see which one work best, but highly recommend to use something good quality so you can use it longer. For my case, because I keep buying some random stuff, and at the end it cost me more because I have too many things that it doesn't work, it's not usable. And if you're offering pedicure service, and if you think of using regular polish for pedicure, definitely recommend the drying fan. It helps so much. If you use regular polish, you already know it takes forever to dry, especially at home. I don't know why, but in my home it takes, I don't know, 20-30 minutes, sometimes forever. It just never dry, and it's caused a lot of inconvenience because sometimes I have like back-to-back clients and I don't know what to do with that. So usually I would recommend my client to do shellac polish so that they don't have to wait there. But since I start using the drying fan, it works like a charm. So they don't have to stay too long. It helps to dry the regular polish much faster, and it's also kind of warmer because the drying fan had two functions: cold air and warm air, which is quite convenient, especially winter and summer. You can choose either mode, and it's work like a charm. So like highly recommend if you use regular polish. If you offer lash lift, remember to choose a very good bed because you need a steady bed. I run into a few problems where my client hop on the bed and the bed is not that steady, even though my last bed that I bought wasn't that cheap either. So I think you need to do your research as well. When I was started, I was pretty excited. I just found whatever online, and in my budget it worked. I do that. But if you consider to do lash lift or lash extension, I find it's quite important to have a steady bed. And another thing about the bed you need to consider is if the bed can move low or high, because for my case, I am pretty short and the chair that I had is not very comfy because the bed can move lower. So it's helped me a little bit because when you do the lash, your body need to be higher than the client, and sometimes I need to bend my neck and my shoulder, so it's really sore. So I guess the second thing you need to consider for the lash services is the chair. The chair have to be comfy, can move up and down easily, but also make sure you sit down there, you put the lash pillow there, imagine there's client and imagine you do things, bend your body, see how you feel. For my case, because of the chair and the bed that I had, I need to move my chair up pretty high in order to reach my client, but then my feet cannot really touch the floor. So after every service, I got pretty sore, especially my neck because try to reach, and also my shoulder and my arm. So yeah, just think about those things as well, because sometimes I feel we don't really think it through until it happened, and then it's hard. Another thing for the lash services is good lighting. I bought a set of ring light from Costco. It worked, but the lighting wasn't that good because my room in the basement, in the like at nighttime especially, is really dark. I have other lighting for sure, but you can see my eye. I wearing glasses, so it's not the strongest eyes. But my point is, good lighting also help when you do lash, especially if you do lash extensions. Consider those kind of things will help you along the way. Right. Now it's the hard part where I admit that what I shouldn't do, which is the part where I'm talking about what I would do differently. There's a few things that I bought for my studio that I wish that I didn't, or I wish I could do again. So first thing is the LED side. As you can see from my previous video, I have that pretty nail side. It's pretty cute. I love it. However, I ordered it from AliExpress, and in order to use that, I need to have a plug converter, so it wasn't the most convenient. And another thing is they don't really have the button for on and off, so you have to plug in and plug out every single time you want it to be on. Another thing about that side that I didn't like is they don't have the dim level. You can dim it up or you can light it up, that, or you can also time it for like 2 hours or things like that. So that's pretty convenient. But because I bought the side from AliExpress, I didn't do enough research. I got the sign. I think it's like $150 or something like that. It was okay deal. However, when they deliver from China to Canada, I need to pay an extra fee of like I think $60 for custom. So yeah, so at the end, I think I paid total of like $200 or $250 more for that sign, which I probably can also just find in local. So I really regret on that. I mean, I still keep the sign. I mean, I'm still using the sign. But if you are consider a sign, maybe don't buy from AliExpress. Or if you do, like research, asking more question. Don't be like me. The second thing that I would do differently is the two bookshelf behind my nail desk. It's kind of like it worked. It but then it's always look unorganized and cluttered, which I don't prefer. So if I would redo it, and if I still have my studio and extend it, I probably would jank it up by buying some sort of like that kind of like above cabinet like that, or lower cabinet, or some sort of drawer, so that it's look nicer, it look neat, and I don't have to bump into my other stuff all the time. The third thing that I have that like I definitely want you not to have is over buying stuff. I got so excited. I was so carried away. I bought so much stuff up until I clean up and clear out the studio. There's so many supplies that I bought that I never ever use. And yeah, so I just think that like if you know what you want, maybe just buy enough. And if you know that your supply run out because you use that a lot, then yeah, then you can buy some more and keep it ready. But then just don't buy too much. Don't be like me. I have the problem. But now I know that. So I'll try my best to decluttering more often now. And because with the small side room now, I need to do that more, decluttering, and only focus on buying things that I need. All right, thank you for sticking to this part. And now is the bonus tip on how I find client from scratch. At first, when I started in the room that I haven't decor or reno at all, like I mentioned earlier, I had some of my friends. I told them about I'm going to do nails at home. What do you think? You want to come over? I gave them friend and family discount too. And then they also combine, they introduce to their colleagues, they introduce to their friend and family. Word of mouth is the first thing I did. And then once I start to have more content, I start to have more picture, videos, I start to post on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, of course, but I find mostly Instagram ads work very well for me. I run ads from time to time, and I also plan ahead, so I know when it's a season, let's say Mother Days, things like that, different promotion. I don't recommend you to promotion for X percentage off. I find it devalue your services. and the client, if they purchase for, let's say you offer a $50, but now they only need to pay $40, they will expect $40 all the time, which devalue your services, which I don't prefer. So what I did was I would run ad for opening for service or different kind of designs, or sometimes I would run giveaway on Instagram as well. When I'm running giveaway, I also run ad so that I can reach to more people. So that's the second thing that I do. The third thing I do is Facebook Marketplace. I also have a few clients find me from Facebook Marketplace. However, I find Facebook Marketplace also kind of like hit and miss because sometimes when I post there, I'm being blocked. Like my post there wasn't published. So I believe Facebook doesn't really let you do that. I mean, there's a way you could do that, but probably it's not like, they don't really want you to post your service there and set up your stuff, selling, physical products. So yeah, hit and miss, but doable. So if you want to try, you can also just post on Marketplace and see how that goes. And another thing that I used was Fresha. I use Fresha for booking services. And after that, I discovered that Fresha also have Marketplace. Now, it's not free, okay? Like if you use Fresha Marketplace, um, your client will discover you through local booking or whatever. They can go to Vesha and search around, browsing around, and then they probably find you. But then for the first time when they book with you, Vesha will take a X percentage uh, X percentage amount of like how much for that service. So Fresha would take that cut for the first time. But if that client from Fresha pre-book with you, then that's fine. That's your money. However, like I said, it's not free. So I didn't know that at first. After the client came home, done all the service and everything, and then that month I got charged for like, I don't know, $10 or $15, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And I figured that is because the fee, like they promote for you, but you also need to pay a cut. But again, if the client come back, then you don't have to pay them again. But yeah, something to consider. Last but not least, if you want, you can put your profile on Google Map. I find a few of my neighbors found me through Google Map as well. They would just randomly search for nail studio near me, and then they found me. And most of them always come back because they like to support local and they are your neighbors. So it's kind of nice to, hang out with people in your community. So word of mouth, Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, Fesha, if you use Fesha as your booking tool, but Fesha Marketplace could help in Google Maps. So if you are planning to build your home-based nail studio, I hope that this video gives you some helpful information. I definitely loved my studio because I built everything from scratch, and I was really proud of it. It was really sad saying goodbye, but I know one chapter is closing, opening up a new chapter. So I'm looking forward to that. I will also start to document my nail business journey on my blog at diabenail.com. I'm opening up a new series called The Nail Files. So where I will share all my tips and tricks, what I know or learned about running a nail business at home, and also journaling where I'm going to be, what I'm going to do with the press on. So if you prefer to read instead of watch, check it out. It's on my website. And I'll be vlogging my press on nail journeys on this YouTube channel. I'm thinking of launching a new collection this summer, and I will definitely vlogging. If you're into that, please subscribe and follow me along on my journey. If you want more content like it about nail business, how to build a nail studio and things like that, please comment below. If I could help you with any information, I'd love to share. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you